Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. This is Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. This is very last minute, but I wanted to shake things up a little bit because I've been really in my head discussing about the decons and the planets, astrological signs for at least probably 3 weeks now, I'm guessing, and sharing posts and studying, and I burned out. Virgo, I decided to create a VR that addresses the seasons. So my video response or my hashtag seasonal tarot decks, what are 3 maximum tarot decks? What are during the seasons that we go through? Autumn, winter, spring, summer. Up to 3 decks in those seasons. What are your 3 decks that you work with the most, that you find yourself being called to practice and to do readings with? So as I mentioned, my collection is very small. Summer. The deck that I feel I get called to work with, like I feel the energy to move towards the deck, is actually the Wild Unknowns Animal Spirit deck. And the reason why I feel more called to use that deck during the summer months is because it's summer and we have all the energy of nature at its fullest extent. So we are connecting with the air, water, earth, and fire, the sun. So the Wild Unknowns Animal Spirit Oracle deck works well for me because it encompasses all those elements. And this is a time, as I just mentioned, nature is at its fullest. So we see the Wild Unknowns Animal Spirit deck, which is created by Kim Kranz, who did the Wild Unknown tarot deck. So this is the box. There we go. It's iridescent, snake skin on it. And then we have the lizard eye. And my window light where the light's at an angle, so I can't go too much that way. So that's the box. That's the inside of it. And then here we see the 5 elements deck. So very quickly. Okay, so these are the cards representing fire. Now some of the cards, like you would think the elephant would be more earthy, but Panther. In our month, Leo, Lion, just got a few more days of its courageous energy. Hyena. Of course, with the lizard, tiger energy. Tiger is almost like a feminine, fiery energy. And the lion is the masculine energy. Fire aspects, and then the scorpion. And then our earth. I live up in the mountains, so I connect to the coon energy. I call them coons up here quite a bit. And of course, we've got lots of spiders. Lambs, no. There we go. Rabbits, and then of course we have the wolf. The wolf, I would probably say it is earth, but I would see it more as a fire earth energy. Buffalo. Foxes, I rarely see foxes up here. Deer, this is a very powerful card for me because we rarely see deers. They're here, but I rarely see them. But when I do, it's something very magical. I don't have to say the names because they're there. Dragonfly is another one. We're now going into the element of air. I'm challenged by them. I have the bat. So I have to say the names even though you see them. And I think also too for the summer months of me living up in the mountains, I don't see a lot of these animals. So if there's a particular energy that I need to connect with, I can go to this deck. Again, the Animal Spirit deck is an oracle deck. So I could go to this deck and just feel that I could draw that energy in that I need. If I need a little beautiful butterfly. No peacocks up here. Plenty of these. So this is a barn owl. Plenty of these as well too. And what's interesting is living up here, there's a prevalence of more particular kinds of animals than others. We have lakes up here, so I guess the turtle would count. No stingrays. Swan. Grace and beauty. But again, when you get a deck and if the creator assigns a particular element to it that you don't feel it connects with, that's the creator's interpretation. It's open to your interpretation once you get a hold of the deck, and utilize it. Someone can see the whale as maybe being a deck. Dolphin's another one that you can also mix with the element of air because they are highly ever mysterious octopus. So that's the animal spirit, the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit by Kim Krans. There's the box again for it. So again, this I would use for summer, just to connect with animal energy and do animal work. So this would be the deck here for that. So the Pagan Otherworlds for me is more of a autumn season deck because of the colors and just the feel that I get from working the Fool. And again, I think it's just more of the coloring. It's very earthy. It's very primitive. It's very simple. The images, of course, go back to the time of the Renaissance. But I think just the simplicity and the color tones. Ace of Swords, too, represents our moving into the fall season. And then Ace of Pentacles for our winter. Ace of Wands, our beginning of spring. And then Ace of Cups is our summer season. The worlds. It just sets me in the tone for autumn. I think I have all of these. Tower. And there's also the backing of the card. The Pagan Otherworlds for me is more more of the fall. And if you have this deck, if you do work with this deck, because I know this is also a popular deck, very traditional in its approach. Right away, I was feeling the need to find a deck within the tarot that explored working with animals in the tarot perspective. So having it give more of a storyline, working with the animals as guides in certain situations, like through the major or minor arcana. So this deck I received, and it came as a pleasant surprise. So I received, let's go this way here, Forest of Enchantment that I pre-ordered. So all of a sudden, I'm getting surrounded with nature and animal decks, which I enjoy working with. It's not that I don't like people, but ever since I was a kid, I've always loved animals, and I've always had a connection to animals. And when I'm not around that energy, there is something missing with me. So between the time I have my cat right now, Spirit, and my previous cat, for 5 years, I was without an animal companion. It was very hard. But to get a deck like this and to get the wild, unknown animal Spirit, it helped me, made me feel like I had a companion. It's really quick. It's a heart box. I want to show you the inside. Barrelea Allwood. And this deck is available to purchase. I was without an animal companion, and with no animals coming about during the winter months. This was a wonderful source of comfort for me. So they are named differently. So this is the white heart for a fool. And we have suspension for a hangman. The black shook for death. And there's actually a dog that's not far from here that looks just like this. It's a big bear of a dog. I don't know its name, but I always call it Black Shook because it reminds me of this image. The Forge, this is Temperance, yes. And this deck is magical. It takes in, let me show you the back of the cards too. It holds such a wonderful energy. The liar is the devil. We see what goes on in the lives of the archetypes and how the fool experiences. Some fairies in here. The moon. The hares. There we go. In the background. Getting enveloped and caught up with the energy of the moon and the sun. So I have moonlight, sunlight. We have Pan here. And then Judgment, the Council of Animals, which is on the cover of the box. So our archetypes have now moved. They've replaced the human entity, and they've been now replaced with the representation of very strong animals. I'll go here closer. We got the bear, we have the deer, we have the badger, we have the fox, we have the hare. There's a hedgehog, frog is there, owl, 2 different owls, the crow, the squirrel, the bat, all symbolic and all knowing with their own energy and how to express it. And then this is our world card. Sort of going back to where we started. I'll show you these cards here side by side. So repeating our cycle. This is our beginning. This is our end. Going back to the beginning again. A magician. So it has some, I would say, medieval. But I love this deck in the sense that it's just it's very simple, and it gets down to the roots of things, our animal nature, how we see things. That was this Ace of Challenges, which represents swords. Ace of Visions, which represents cups. Ace of Brooms, which represents earth. And let me see really quick, because I missed. And then our Ace of Spells, the fire. A little fire-breathing dragon. And also, too, during our winter months, it is a time of reflection. Magic energy, intuition gets heightened. So I always find during the winter months, my connection to spiritual energy is, and depending on how you connect and what kind of practice that you use, what kind of tools you use, if you work with those aspects, those tools, your divination tools, so on and so forth, during the winter months, I feel the energy will work so much stronger for you during that time. You become more complacent, you're more focused, you're more inward, you're more sensitive to how you work with energy. So find a deck that incorporates all of that it brings in those aspects and how you feel. Some people feel that maybe the summer months is their power time for magic. Some people feel that maybe springtime is the power time for magic. Same for fall. And I think fall becomes more prominent for magic and whatnot because we have Samhain, Halloween. And so people's energy can also be very strong during that time of the year because they're more connected to the quarters, and the thinning of the veil becomes more sensitive to people who work with those kinds of energies. So that's why for me, autumn and winter months, those are the best times for me. But again, based on your traditional practice, Imbolc, which is February 1st, 2nd, is considered to be the first sign of light that we get, depending, again, where you are. Some people consider that to be the first signs of spring because we're starting light. But work with the energy of the Sabbats, whatever tradition works good for you, that you feel harnesses that spring and feel organic feel to it. I'm not gonna hone on this too much. Some people were unhappy with the images of the people that were depicted here because they looked very contemporary. They're thin. They weren't diverse in regards for color or gender or anything like that. I don't look at decks like that. I feel the decks based on their energy. And if it connects with me, let's do it. It could be all gay, It could be all straight. It could be all black, yellow, green. I don't look at that. I have to connect with the deck in that sense. So I don't mean to offend anybody when I say that, but that's, I'm a spiritual centered person, and that's how I move when I work in this practice. So here is the Lumina Tarot, and here's the Fool. And I mean, for spring, we got the colors. This is actually the perfect card for spring. Got the rainbow of colors there. The Magician. When you go through this deck and you just see some of the energy that's in this deck, you can see where some of it's dark. I have to laugh. Someone said this looks like Charles Manson. And I guess I didn't think Charles Manson at all when I saw this. I feel the person being represented here is of Aboriginal descent. We have him holding up the skull, the Hierophant. And this deck brings in elements of, we have the wolves here. This is the Lovers. It does incorporate animals. So it's not entirely depicting humans. So that's why I like this deck, because it does have that balance. This is Justice. Hermit, so on and so forth. So this deck has a spectrum of colors, and the colors are light. They're not heavy. They're not sided more on the darker side or sided more on the lighter side. It creates a nice balance. And for people who want to work with color energy in the tarot, this is a wonderful deck to work with. Sorry, you can't see this. Ace of Cups. Ace of Swords. Beautiful Ace of Pentacles. Look at the hand, and underneath it shows prosperity through, it's like berries, flowers, full green leaves. Like I have this deck ordered numerically, not by a suit. So here's our Three of Wands. There's our Three of Cups. You see here Three of Swords. And then our Three of Pentacles. But the color energy with the Lumina deck just works. It works nicer for me for the spring season, and it gets me ready. We've gone from autumn to winter to spring and then to summer. So some of the decks that we work with during the autumn, winter months, they tend to have, maybe more earthy tones to it. Like the Forest of Enchantment, all green. So a deck like this for spring, it gives us that kick, that to get us started into the spring season. So just to recap really quick, my seasonal decks that I've pulled, that I connect with the most for summer, it's the fire, earth, air, and water. And I use that specifically to connect with animal energy and animal spirits in the summer, because that energy is out there. In the winter months, I can use this deck as well, but because I'm not seeing the animals, I'm not feeling their energy because they're in hibernation. That's where I go to a deck like the Forest of Enchantment to continue to connect with the elements of nature, green witchcraft, if you will, because it does have that influence. And then from there, we go into the Lumina Tarot for our spring, for movement, for getting out of our fall, winter months. So it's a great deck to get started. And I forgot to mention the Pagan Otherworlds. This is my deck, my seasonal deck for autumn. It's because of the colors and its traditional imagery. It just starts moving me away from summer and just to start getting ready for our winter months. It's a very calming. That's my autumn deck. So that's it. Those are my 4 seasonal decks that I work with. This is a VR hashtag seasonal tarot decks, and I like to share this with other people. I went on longer. I tend to anyhow, but I want people to see the deck and get my feedback. I like to know, out of those 4 seasons, no more than 3 decks. You can do 1 deck for each season, but no more than 3 decks that you resonate with for spring, summer, fall, and then spring, and then summer. You can end it with summer. So look through your decks, see what decks that you feel really work with you and that you connect with the most during the seasons, and share a video of it and give your insight as to how you feel about these decks in particular in my upcoming videos. So please take part in this, share it, hashtag seasonal, the same name, the Mystic Rose Tarot, and then of course here on YouTube. Thank you so much for links, and feel free to leave any comments. All right? Have a wonderful weekend. Stay cool. We're in a heat wave right now here in California, so anyone in California who's watching this, you know what we're going through. All right. Have a great one, everyone. I will